So I wanted to give you a chance to see exactly what is contained in Snare Drum Mastery 101. Like I've said before, this is one of the most comprehensive and detailed snare drum courses available anywhere. There is so much information in this course that you will definitely come away with a very strong knowledge of the snare drum, music theory, and I believe it will set a tremendous foundation for your future drumming endeavors. So let's take a look at exactly what is contained in the Snare Drum Mastery 101 course. First of all, you're going to get 15 lessons of snare drum instruction. These lessons average approximately 1 hour in length, so you're getting 15 hours of high-level, high-quality instruction for a very value price. Within the course, all the rudiments will be explained. All of the 40 international drum rudiments are explained for you, and there are also exercises to go along with those rudiments. So not only are you learning the rudiments, but you are getting to practice them as well. Every lesson comes with its own downloadable PDF, which gives you a visual representation and a visual guide of what's being explained in each lesson, in addition to providing you with the exercises that you can practice. This course is really great for beginner to intermediate drummers who need help getting started on the drums. It's also designed for drummers who want to learn how to play by ear, or who already play by ear but want to learn how to read. It can be a great transition from musicians who want to transition from a different instrument and possibly give the drums a try. And it's also great for music teachers who want a really good comprehensive snare drum course that they can deliver to their students. Some of the goals of Snare Drum Mastery 101 are these. It provides intro and intermediate drummers with an in-depth look at snare drum methods. It's going to develop the ability for you to sight read for the snare drum. It's going to familiarize you with music theory, especially and of course related to the drums. As I've already said, we're going to cover all the essential 40 drum rudiments, and we're going to apply those with various exercises for the snare drum. We're going to learn how to use a metronome to improve our accuracy and timing. We're going to study the various grips that are important to drumming, including match grip and traditional grip. And we're also going to emphasize the proper strengthening and development of both the right and left hand. More tips and bonuses in this course include practice tips and how to begin drums with nothing but a pair of sticks, a metronome, and a practice pad. Through this course, you're also going to learn how to read for snare drum, but that reading skills can be translated to the entire drum set at some point, and it's going to eventually produce in you and develop in you as a highly educated and versatile musician. All right, so I'm going to give you a very in-depth look at what is covered in each of these courses. Lesson 1, we're going to talk about the basic notes used for snare drum and the drum set, and we're going to show how these notes are related to each other and how they're subdivided. We're going to get into things like time signatures and the most common time signatures, which are 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, and 6/8. And we're going to start working with some basic reading exercises, getting you used to playing whole, half, and quarter notes, and getting you directly playing the drums and the snare drum in the very first lesson. Lesson 2, this is where we're going to start introducing the rudiments. The first one is the single stroke. And in addition to that, we're going to learn about the eighth note, and we're going to have some exercises on how to use the eighth note, which is going to start strengthening your hands and developing your coordination. Lesson 3, we're going to talk about the single stroke 4 and the single stroke 7. In addition, we're going to introduce the metronome and give you some very valuable practice tips on how to maximize your practice time throughout this course and throughout the rest of your drumming career. In addition, we're going to continue working with some eighth note exercises. In lesson 4, we're going to introduce the multiple ounce roll, a double stroke roll, and we're going to continue to expand our musical theory knowledge with some dynamic cymbals and how those relate to the snare drum and how those will eventually begin to improve your creativity, skills, and dynamic abilities on the drums. Lesson 5, we're going to introduce triplets and the Moeller method. The Moeller method is one of the most popular methods out there for improving hand and wrist development. It's very, very useful in playing triplets, and I believe it'll be a tremendous asset to your drumming knowledge and abilities. We're also going to start an in-depth study of 3/4 time signatures, as well as continue to introducing more music theory through the addition of repeat signs. And finally, we'll provide some reading exercises for you to practice in 3/4 timing. Lesson 6, we cover the 5, 6, and 7 stroke rolls, which are double stroke rolls. We're also going to start talking about 2/4 time signature, and we're going to introduce the tie as another tool in our toolkit of music theory. Lesson 7, we continue with the double stroke rudiment studies with the 9, 10, 11, and 13 stroke rolls. Really enjoy those rolls. They're some of my favorite rolls, and I really look forward to teaching you those as well. We're going to introduce some more time signatures and really get you familiar and practicing the 6/8 time signature. In lesson 8, we'll finish up the double stroke rudiments with the 15 and 17 stroke roll, as well as introducing the 16th note to you. The 16th note is one of the pinnacle notes and one of the most valuable notes available to the drummer. Lesson 9, we will start looking at the paradiddle rudiment family with the single, double, and triple paradiddle, as well as strengthening our 16th note knowledge with some reading exercises. In lesson 10, we will start working on the flam family, introducing the basic flam, flam accent, and flam tap. We'll also demonstrate to you how to properly develop and execute your traditional grip, and we will use the flam in various reading exercises and various time signatures, really starting to pull all this knowledge together. And then in lesson 11, we're going to talk about the flam cue, flam paradiddle, single flam mill, and we're going to start using the 5-stroke roll in some reading exercises. Lesson 12, we'll continue to work through the flam rudiment family with the flam paradiddle diddle, the patafla, and the Swiss Army triplet, as well as continuing to do reading exercises using the 5-stroke roll with combination of 16th notes, creating some really interesting patterns. Lesson 13, we start introducing the drag family of rudiments, as well as looking at the inverted flam tap and the flam drag. And we're going to use the 7-stroke roll in some of our reading exercises. Lesson 14, we'll continue working on drag rudiments, single drag tap, double tap drag, lesson 25, and single drag a diddle. And we're going to have some very intense and interesting reading exercises using the 9 and 17 stroke rolls. And then finally in lesson 15, we are going to introduce and finish out the drag rudiments with the drag paradiddles. We're going to talk about the single and triple rudiment cue, and we're going to finish up with a combination of long roll and flam exercises. So there you have it, folks. That is an in-depth view of Snare Drum Mastery 101, the course all the things that it contains and all the value that it can provide you in enhancing your reading ability, your rudimental knowledge, your hand development, getting tons of practice tips, and really getting you set up for a successful and prosperous drumming journey.